Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really interesting contrast. Crypto influencers versus those traditional financial gurus.
Yeah, it's quite the comparison.
We're using an article that kind of dissects their tactics, points out the pitfalls. The main goal here is to help you, our listener, understand what's really going on behind the scenes.
So you can be a bit more discerning, right, when you see this stuff online or wherever.
Exactly. Cut through the noise.
Mm.
So let's jump in. Crypto influencers first. The article paints a picture. Flashy, right?
Oh, yeah. Very flashy. You see the expensive watches, the fast cars online. Lambos seem to be a favorite.
Definitely. And they're all over TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, pushing these new cryptocurrencies.
The next 100x coin. That kind of promise.
Right. And the article breaks down their usual playbook.
They get in early on some coin, then they start hyping it up massively. That's the pump.
They get their followers all excited, telling them to buy in, build momentum.
And then, once the price is high enough, because everyone's jumped in, they sell their own large stake.
Which is the rug pull, basically.
Exactly. And the price crashes, leaving the followers, well, often with significant losses.
Even though they slap on that not financial advice disclaimer everywhere.
Yeah, that disclaimer doesn't really help the people who lost money, does it? The article also mentions Dubai pops up a lot.
Right, as a hub for these guys, networking events and whatnot. Okay, so that's one side. What about the other, the traditional gurus?
Well, the article presents them quite differently. Think button-down shirts, maybe a blazer, less flash, more stability.
Yeah, the image is definitely more conservative. Their message is often about getting rich slow.
Long-term investing, mutual funds, compound interest, that kind of thing.
And the article notes how many of them were really skeptical about crypto early on.
Oh, definitely. Calling Bitcoin a scam, a bubble, a complete joke.
Which looks a bit awkward now, right?
Yeah.
When you think about people who maybe bought Ethereum back in 2016 and, well, did pretty well.
It certainly challenges their earlier, very dismissive stance. The article contrasts those success stories against the guru's initial skepticism.
So what's their angle, according to the article? What's their business model?
It often boils down to selling things like courses, maybe expensive masterminds, seminars.
Teaching their proven system.
Right. And the critique in the article is that their advice, while maybe safer, can feel quite predictable, maybe even a bit outdated.
And possibly self-serving, like keeping followers needing their programs.
That's the suggestion, yeah. That there might be an incentive to keep people feeling like they need ongoing guidance, like they're on financial training wheels, as the article puts it.
And the classic example. Stop buying coffee if you want to be rich.
That old chestnut. The article definitely flags that kind of advice as typical of this group.
So it sets up this central question. Who is actually being scammed? Is it the followers of the crypto influencers getting rug pulled?
Or is it the people following the traditional gurus, maybe being kept in a state of overcaution, missing out on potential growth while paying for advice?
Interesting framing. What does the article conclude?
Well, it doesn't really pick a definitive winner or loser. It suggests both groups are essentially playing a game.
A game.
Yeah, a game where the prize is your attention, your money, and ultimately your trust. The article implies neither group's motives might be purely aligned with their audience's best interests.
So the big takeaway then, for anyone listening, is what?
It really hammers home the need to think for yourself. That old acronym, DYOR, do your own research.
Critically important. And the article stresses this applies whether the person giving advice is wearing a hoodie or a suit and tie.
Exactly. Don't be swayed just by the presentation style. You need skepticism regardless.
The ultimate warning seems to be, if someone is selling you a dream, whether it's instant riches or slow and steady security,
you need to make absolutely sure that pursuing their dream doesn't end up costing you your own savings. Look closely at what's really being offered versus what's being gained by the person offering it.
So wrapping this up, both the flashy crypto types and the more traditional financial advisors operate in systems where, their own interests are definitely part of the equation.
Absolutely. And your best defense, really your best tool, is critical thinking. Don't just take anyone's word for it.
Right. So maybe a final thought for you to consider. When you encounter financial advice next time, ask yourself, what are the unspoken incentives here? What's not being said?
And beyond that, how can you start building your own way, your own framework for judging these opportunities and understanding the real risks involved? Something to definitely mull over.